go here in the live Q&A thread on our community. If you ever have a question, then feel free to drop it here and we'll be able to answer it for you. It's taken a little while to get to these particular questions. The reason being, a lot has changed in AI, even over the last few weeks when it comes to AI copywriting and bulk creating content for your newsletter or for your website. And we wanted to make sure that we were offering you the best advice, the best insights. So we were taking a little bit of time to make sure that we were helping you out in the best way possible. Not only that, but we've had some very exciting things going on behind the scenes that we're hoping to be able to share with you in the community very, very soon. We are going to be looking for some beta testers at some point in March and April. So if you're the kind of person that wants to test out new things on the market, then definitely get yourself into the community so that when we announce what we're looking for and when we're looking for it, then you're there to raise your hand. But there are 3 questions that came up in this particular thread on the Q&A that I want to go through. The first one here is all about paid ads, specifically with Instagram, and some just suggestions on how to run them efficiently. Now, there's not a lot of huge amount of information here that I can go on, so I'm going to give some general advice with this one when it comes to ads, because what we're seeing within our community is people are going to our YouTube channel, they're taking our free course there, it's over 5 hours of training. Then they're getting their newsletter set up, which is great news. Then they're getting to the point where they want to get those subscribers quicker. Organic is great. And again, we have training on lead magnets on our channel that you can take, but ads will get you there faster. Now, as I don't know details about the niche or what they've already tried, what I'm going to do is just give some general advice that relates to Facebook ads when it comes to newsletters. The kind of general advice we would give a client if they were coming to us and it was something they were thinking about exploring before we actually drill down into their newsletter and what organic social media campaigns they already had going on. So the first thing, and I'm going to talk about this generally, so it applies to Facebook and Instagram, because obviously it's all run through pretty much the same platform, is you want to be thinking about a lead gen campaign. Okay. The idea of getting more leads, that's the option that you want to pick. The other way you can do it is you can pick the send to my website. Now, the thing with send to my website is it does tend to be more expensive because you're taking people off the platform. You're taking them off Facebook or you're taking them off Instagram. And so you're going to get charged more for that. You can do a lead gen campaign. And what this would do is it would run a lead form within Facebook or Instagram in order to collect a person's details. And then what you would do is you would collect all that information and then you would import it into your newsletter. So you need to make sure that your privacy policy, your terms and conditions are all really clear. So when somebody signs up and you collect their information, you have got permission to add them to your newsletter. But you can make this clear in the copy, and you can obviously, as I said, make it clear in the terms and conditions. Now, when you set up these lead forms, there is a lot of information that you can collect, but what I would recommend is just going simple with the name and email. Even just first name is absolutely fine. Okay, you're going to be emailing people. You need their email address to add them to the newsletter, and you ideally want their first name as well. But if you have too many options on that form, even though it's nice to have extra information, what you do find is people just close the form and they don't bother filling it. People generally are lazy when it comes to these kind of things. So if you are going to do a lead gen campaign, then collect names and emails. Only if you're going to send them to the website, then you're probably going to be sending them over to your landing page, whether you use Beehive or you use something else, which means you want to make sure that that is completely optimized, and that will help your conversion rates go up once you've moved them over to your website. The next thing that I would advise is have a look at your social media accounts. You should already have some audience data from your platform. So if you've got Instagram or you've got Facebook, you should have some data already. Even if you've been doing everything organically, you should be able to look at the back-end data of your accounts and see the demographic, where those people are. You can see gender, you can see age range, you can see a huge amount of information. We can do exactly the same here on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. And what that's going to do is it's allowing you to set up your campaign in an optimized way. It means that you can target the right people because you've looked at your data. You can see who it is that is interacting with your organic content, and then you can use that in order to be able to inform your targeting. If you don't have any targeting, then you can any of that data, you could just keep your targeting really, really broad to start off with, and then you will start to get some information. Now, we could talk all day about sort of what kind of campaign you want to set up. We could talk about exactly what sort of targets you're trying to hit when it comes to your ads. I'm not going to talk about that in detail in this video. I want to keep it more general. So the next thing that I want to talk about is testing. You have to have the budget for testing. You're going to be setting up different ad sets, and you'll want to be testing out different formats. So that's the main thing that I want to talk about now. So the first thing is you want to be thinking about, am I going to be testing video? Am I going to be testing images? Am I going to be testing GIFs? GIFs perform really, really well when it comes to newsletters. And again, this is general advice. You're also going to be thinking about, am I going to be talking about the benefits of my newsletter, or am I going to have some kind of lead magnet? So you might be testing out different lead magnets against different parts of your audience. So there's a huge amount that is going on here, but you need to be thinking about testing. Now, when it comes to testing a newsletter, then you can keep your budget reasonably low in compared to some big businesses, but you want to be testing for 7 days. Okay, you're going to leave a particular ad on for 7 days to get that information, and you're going to have multiple ads on. So for example, day one, we would put an ad up, we would launch it, we'd put it on at our budget, whatever our daily budget was. Then the next day we'd set another one, then we'd set another one. What's going to happen over time is that we are going to see that some of those ads are going to perform very, very well, and some of them are not. So when we look at our cost per click, for example, some of them are going to be more expensive than others. So after 7 days, we can make that decision to turn off the ad or leave the ad on. And if we turn off the ad, we can then decide whether we're going to try a different ad or whether we're going to reallocate that budget to an ad that's performing particularly well. So like I said, it is very complicated. It can get very, very big, and we can't answer all of those questions in a Q&A like this, but we can give you some general guidance. Now, when it comes to your testing, you're going to test video, image, GIF, something like that, a lead magnet. Then you need to think about your copy. So copy, we want to talk about sort of 50 words. You're going to have some kind of call to action in there as well. You can also consider emojis. Emojis do really well to capture the attention when it comes to an ad. Again, if you're B2B for your newsletter, you might not want to go for emojis, or just use them sparingly, such as like bullet points, for example, when you give the benefits of your newsletter, so that you are keeping that professional feel. Oh, and I should also mention up here as well, another great one for testing out different creatives and stuff is social proof. So that could be a testimonial. It could be, you know, we have 10,000 subscribers, or it could be join 500 other AI enthusiasts who are interested in AI video. Whatever it is, some kind of social proof to show that you know what you're talking about, and people are enjoying your content, and that will give people sort of that feeling of they want to join in, they want to get involved, and they want to subscribe to the newsletter. The last thing I want to talk about cost, and again, cost is really, really difficult thing to talk about, but when it comes to general niches, then I would sort of say you want to be thinking about things around about, when you start your campaign, you're looking at $3 to $4 per sub. You should then, once you've optimized everything, you want to be getting things down to $1 to $2 a subscriber. There are some niches out there where we have seen And this is something we're going to be talking about in the future in the channel, where you can get way below $1 subscriber. But that is a very specific type of campaign and a very specific niche. And as I said, that's something that we will be talking about hopefully in the future. But I don't want to bring you stuff that's sort of only half baked. I want to make sure that you get the full value, all the information. So yeah, that's something that we'll be bringing to you in the channel in the future. So if you do want to know how you can get those super cheap subs on Facebook, then do subscribe to the channel. And when we're ready to bring you that information, then we can. So that's everything I wanted to talk to you about ads. If you have any more questions about ads, then do feel free to come over to the community. You can give a more specific question into our next Q&A post. And what this means is that you will be able to get a detailed answer like this, or you can just drop a question into one of our threads here, and one of us will be able to get back to you. But the next thing I want to talk to you about is curating content. Okay, because that was one of the other questions that we had here in the Q&A. I think it was Chris that was asking us about curating content. Yeah, he asked about it here. So curation for a newsletter, and a curated newsletter is a great option if you don't want to be writing a huge amount for your newsletter. Now, we show you on this channel how you can use AI to write your newsletter for you. We recommend Copy. That's the one we use, and it's the one we use with our clients as well at the moment. It's not the only one, but it's the one we always like to, we generally start with clients, and it does a great job for us. It does around 70–80% of the work, and then we need to do some tweaking and optimizing within whatever platform we're using, whether it's Beehive or something else for the client. But if you don't want to do that, then a curated newsletter is simply bringing information together. It could be something like jobs, for example, so connecting people looking for a job in a particular sector and individuals that are advertising jobs, bringing them together. It could be a marketplace. It could be something quite popular at the moment with AI, sort of AI tools, and bringing together collections of AI tools that people are interested in. So could be ChatGPT prompts, it could be all sorts of things. So that's what curated content is. Now, in terms of actually curating content, there are different things that you can do. We actually built our own tool for this. And if you're interested in finding out a little bit more about that, then we can talk to you about that in the future in the community. If you're interested in that, put curated tool or curating tool into the comments of this video, and we can talk to you a little bit more about that. But we didn't find anything out there that was brilliant at doing this particular job for us. The best workaround that I can give you right now is to use Google Alerts, which is a free tool that Google will give you. Just Google Alerts and the page will come up. And what it allows you to do is put a keyword in, and then they will send you an email every day or week. And that will allow you to receive news articles, blog posts, things like that, where that particular keyword or key phrase has been used. And that means that you are able to, instead of having to go out and find all the information and do your own search, it's delivered to your inbox. Now, if you are going to be using this, what I would suggest is if you're going to be setting up a lot of terms, then I would either use filtering within your email inbox, set up a folder dedicated for this, and then filter everything in there so it skips the inbox. Or if you don't know how to do that, set up a dedicated email just for your Google Alerts, because it's surprising how quickly this thing can clog up your inbox. But yeah, if you use Google Alerts, and obviously you've got bookmarking, so if you find a particular website that's really good at updating you on a particular idea that relates to your newsletter, so for example, if there's a jobs board that has a ton of information and you're doing sort of a jobs-based newsletter, then you can bookmark, and then you can go in and you can try and find the best sites, and you can go in once a week whenever you need to and collect the information that way. There is one other tool that I can think of that might be useful, but again, as I said, we're looking for some beta testers in the future. So I'll be talking about that tool particularly in the future. If you would like some dedicated content around curating or curated newsletters and how we do it, some particular training or a workshop, can you put curated workshop into the comments of this video? And then we'll be able to see exactly who's interested in that. If we get enough interest, then we can put something up into our community, and then you'll be able to access that. Then we had another question in here which came from Chris. It was down here, and he was talking about custom GPTs. Now, if you go over to our Knowledge Hub here, then you can see that we have some custom GPTs that we have built, and we put them up for free. And he asked if we could see these in action. And this is one of the things we've been talking about a lot here on the channel. Those custom GPTs are 70 to 80% complete. But what you would need to do is you would have to put your own information in. So being able to show people exactly how it works for their business is a little bit tricky. So you need to take that information. You need to have the paid version of ChatGPT, cut and paste everything across, do some editing so it fits your business. You might also want to add in a knowledge base, which is something that I would recommend, so that you have a knowledge base there that ChatGPT can use for your newsletter topics. It's got all the up-to-date information, and this would be more for if you're doing sort of a long form newsletter. You want to put the knowledge base in. It will also work for a curated newsletter as well. And Chris was saying, can you see these things in action on the channel? And I'm going to say no to that one, Chris, and that's because this is something that we build for our clients that need it, in order to be able to get them to build out newsletters specific for their business. And that's a service that we can offer to clients that need it. And that's something that we sort of save as a premium service. So we're not going to go into how we do that on the channel, but we have given you the full document there that you can use in order to be able to build something. But like I said, I don't want to leave you guys completely hanging if that's something that you are interested in. Go away, download the custom GPT instructions, set one up for yourself, add a knowledge base relating to your newsletter, tweak it so it works if that's what you want to do. But I will tell you, you need to have some knowledge of prompt engineering. You need to have that ready to go. So if you're somebody who doesn't want to spend a ton of time learning prompt engineering, or, you know, learning how to write prompts for ChatGPT, then I do want to give you a little bit of extra help. My recommendation would be go and find an AI copywriting tool that will write your newsletters for you. Now, it could have a dedicated newsletter tool, or it will have some kind of blog or article writing tool. If it's a blog or article writing tool, then what you can do is you can then take out the bits you need for your newsletter, and then you can do some further editing to turn it into a newsletter. But what you'll normally find is it will write you 1,000-2,000 words, and then you've got a couple of newsletters there, because newsletters tend to be sort of around the 400 to 600 word mark. So that's one thing that one part of the solution. What I would also recommend you do when you're looking for this tool, if you want to have sort of that custom GPT experience, but without having to learn how to prompt engineer, is you're going to be looking for two things within this AI tool that you pick. You're going to want a brand voice. And a brand voice option, what it's going to do is it's going to ask you for some examples of the writing, the style of writing you want to use. What this means is you can write a couple of newsletters yourself. You can take a couple of newsletters from somebody else that you like the look of, and use that as inspiration for writing your newsletter. Or you might already have a couple of newsletters that you've already published, and you cut and paste those in to the brand voice. And what that does is it teaches the AI to write like you. But the key one is this one here, and that's the fact that you're going to want a knowledge base. And what the knowledge base is going to allow you to do is it's going to be able to allow you to add information about your niche for your newsletter. And this is very powerful because obviously when you go out into you go on ChatGPT and it's searching the internet, there's a huge amount of information out there, and you might actually want to be very specific about what you want your AI to write about for your newsletter. And the other thing is, if you're writing about something that's trending, it can be quite difficult for some of the AI tools like Gemini, like ChatGPT to find the right information. But if you have a knowledge base and you give that to the AI, then with just a couple of sentences of you telling the AI what you need, it can create that content for you in your brand or a brand that you like, and using the knowledge that you have given it through the knowledge base. And actually, this is something we're using more than custom GPTs. We're using this method a lot more. There are some great tools out there that will let you, the AI copywriting tools, you add your brand voice, you add your knowledge base, and they will write your content for you. We actually tested this out recently because Claude 3 came out. There wasn't a ton of information, and we wrote our newsletter. If you go to our website, check out our latest newsletters. I'll leave a link in the description in case you want to go and visit the newsletter and check out what the AI produced. But what it did was it took the information that we put into the knowledge base, and we actually used as I said, we used the blogging feature in this one, and it wrote around about, I think it was about over 3,000 words of information from the knowledge bases that we gave this AI. And we were able to cut this up into a series of 7 newsletters on Claude. Now, we might not publish all 7 newsletters, but what we were able to do within about 5 to 10 minutes work, that is finding the sources, getting all that information together in one place, cut and pasting it into the knowledge base, then cut and pasting past versions of our newsletter into the brand voice, and then going through the AI prompting, which is, you're all led through it in these softwares. It's very, very simple. We were able to produce 7 newsletters in like less than 10 minutes. And then all it needs, as you should be doing anyway with your any kind of content you put out, whether it's a newsletter or your copywriting, is we did some light editing. We put in some links, some photos, and actually these software will put in the photos for you. Some of them do stock, something like Hoppy Copy has an AI image creator as well, and it will put all that in there for you. And we're finding that that is a better way around than custom GPT. So there's 2 reasons really why we're not going to share our custom GPT methods on here. One, we save it for paying clients that need it, that need something very, very specific. But number 2, there are better methods coming out. Custom GPTs were big news sort of like a couple of months ago, but now these big AI companies are taking these ideas from custom GPTs, building out their software so they're better, and doing a lot of the heavy lifting for us. Okay, and the tools, they're free. You can start this process off because they have free word allocations. Obviously, once you've used up all the word allocations, or some of the features might be paid, but you can get started with some of these tools for free. So if you would like to have some training, if you want to see which AI copywriting tools we're using in order to do this, how we went through the process I've just described to get our AI, get the AI to write our 7 newsletters on Claude, then just put into the comments knowledge base. And again, if we get enough comments that say knowledge base in the comments, then we will do some training. It will probably take place over in the community. I don't think we'll put it here because, you know, this kind of training and the same with the curating content, those videos are they're going to be longer videos. So they're best placed as training over on the community. If you're watching this Q&A sort of later on, then what I would do is I would come into the courses section here and see if you can find the training, because that's probably where we are going to put it. So hopefully that was useful. Again, if you have your own questions, please feel free, come into the community, come to the Q&A tab, find out when the next Q&A is. It's probably going to be in April now, as we're already in mid-March. Put your questions in and we can go through in detail answering your question. If it's a shorter question, you can just put it into one of the threads in our community and you'll be able to get an answer from us. Remember, we've got some really exciting stuff coming up. So if you are the kind of person that's interested in being a beta tester and testing these things out first, again, join the community and look out for some posts on that.